And greetings. Welcome everyone to the Soul Citizens. It's another Sunday night, first week in December. I hope I'm getting that right. I'm getting my time all mixed up from my COVID craziness. I can't keep track of what day it is anymore, fellas. I'm totally lost. We want to tell everybody hi again. Ops Chief, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you as always. And yeah, we got an interesting show scheduled for tonight. So we're going to give you guys a disclaimer in a couple of minutes, but before we do the disclaimer, I want to introduce our panel of co-hosts tonight. First off, let's start out with we'll go alphabetical. Let's start with the ambassador himself, Mr. Fastcart. What's up, FC?
Hello, everyone. My name is Fastcart, also known as FC, and also known by some as Fast Kirk. I can't imagine why. I think Kimmy gave me that name. And, last week we had Shiver on, so I have to take back my crown for bad jokes, so look forward to that.
Oh, God. Must we? Okay. Yeah, he was throwing him out last week. He wasn't too bad. And, having Shiver is always good. It was fun to have him back on the show last week. And I'm going to skip over me and go to Special K himself, Kelosal, the man, instructor. What's going on, buddy?
Good evening. It's good to be with you guys as always. You can't beat Fastcart when you go after him. You just got to sit there, rest, relax, and pray. But it's good to see all of you guys.
That is funny. Oh, wow. Shipwreck. Oh, my God. Thank you for the 2-month sub. Kicking us off really good. Thank you so much for that. And 97 Watts, I was here earlier setting up and I heard this go off and I know that you followed. So if you're here, thank you for the follow. And also Lord Dreen, I've been looking for you. I appreciate you following us as well. Lady Space Patrol, thank you for the follows. Great to see you. Thank you for coming by tonight. And last but not least, we're going to introduce our special guest, who isn't here yet. and that's STLYoungblood. We have his logo here. Let me explain to you guys what's going on. STL, we do our show, even though many of us live in different time zones. I'm Central, but STL thought that we were going by Central Time, and we go by Eastern Time when we publish, and so he had a commitment that he had to be at, but he was in contact with us both yesterday and today and said, hey, I'll be there. I've just got to finish up this family thing I'm doing. So we're going to look for him in a little bit. Simp reporting for Boo T. Interesting name. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. But STL is going to be here in a bit. So when he gets here, he's going to drop in, and we'll see him and everything else. So we are going to get into this show though and start talking about some stuff, and he'll join us when he comes. Like I said, let's see.
You didn't introduce yourself.
I did. I opened up with Griffin Gaming. At least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. I may not have. I don't know if I did or not. But okay, Griffin Gaming RPG.
They're phenomenal.
I'm the wizard behind the curtain who's doing all the stuff like that. That's all I am.
Don't forget his other name. He's also known by Griff Windu.
Oh God, yeah, Griff Windu. Yeah, a new name already. Well, listen, guys, it's good to see everybody here today. Ibra, Citizen, good to see you as well. 07s. All right, listen, you might be wondering what this topic is about. Now, unless you're an old guy like me in Fastcart that has gray in your hair and your beard, you may not know what this title is all about. But the title is No Deposit, No Return. And if you can look at the graphic a little bit, you'll see that there is a bottle with a ship in it. Everybody is familiar with the ship in the bottle. That's one of my favorite ships. It's a Constellation that's in there. But let me give you guys some background if you don't know what that means. No Deposit, No Return was a phrase that was used many, many years ago. It's in the United States, it's been used in different places. I know in the South it was very popular. In the North it was to a certain degree. But I remember that term. Lavang fan, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you stopping in. What that statement was it would be emboldened into a glass bottle. It might be a soda pop bottle. I'll call it soda for you guys in the South, or pop, whichever one you want to go by. Sometimes it was even
Coke.
or Coke. Well, yeah, but yeah, I was saying it was on glass in particular. It was something that when you got a drink, you would buy it, and let's say the drink cost, I'm just giving you a number off the top of my head. Let's say it was $1.25. Well, a quarter of that was gone toward the bottle or whatever. Anyway, to make a long story short, you drink the pop, and then you would come back, and when you brought the bottle back, they would give you 25 cents back. That's what it meant. But if you had a bottle that said no deposit, no return, that meant that if you brought the bottle back, they weren't going to give you any money for it. Okay, so
and they're still cans, like aluminum cans still have that.
Yeah, you can do it with aluminum. And it was like an early version of recycling, that they basically wanted those bottles back. They could use them again, blah, 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 blah. So we decided to use this as an idea or a topic because coming after IAE and also kind of where we are with Star Citizen, we wanted to talk about this whole thing of what happens with people spending money in Star Citizen in the sense of purchasing items and ships. We want to talk about the aspect of people melting. People who will melt ships, they'll buy something, then they come back and say, I'm going to melt it for credit, right? And then, of course, there are the people who have credit sitting around for a long time. Some people actually buy credit. They pay $25 or $50 to get that little card, and they build it up over time so that eventually when there's a sale or something that they really want, usually something like IAE, the anniversary sale, they will go, boom, this is the time for me to buy. So we want to talk about not just the mechanics of spending money, but we want to talk about why are people spending money. Now, this has been kind of we've all three of us, fastcart, Kelosal, myself, have been having this conversation about what's going on that after all these years and after all this taking place with Star Citizen, not only are they making money, they're making even more money. There is more revenue coming in. And not that I'm saying that's a bad thing. I'm just kind of curious as to what's motivating it. So we kind of want to hear from you guys in chat as well as our panel today about what do you think is making this happen? There's new money that's coming in, right, guys? Because we saw that, right? And then there's those of us who've been around for a while who are maybe recirculating money, right? We're bringing those pop bottles back and getting our change and saying, what else can I buy? And then there's still some of us who've been around for a long time, and we are actually still spending money. So let's see what happens. Pickle skin, and I like what you said there. The slow drip of awareness through their cold molasses marketing. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And you know what? You're mentioning something that might be the case. Is it about their marketing? Is it a really slick marketing campaign? Pramster says it's all rigged. It's rigged, right? What is it that has made many of us say, I'm shutting up my wallet. I'm done. How many times have we said that, Kelosal? I'm done. I'm through. That's it. And next thing you know, boom. Right. Azaraz says an addiction to buy. Is it just addictive? Is that part of the motivation? Dublin Magpie says because it's picking up momentum and it's closer to a finished product. Maybe people who were hesitant before are now like seeing that, wow, it's not just this, JPEG thing, or there's some stuff here that looks pretty cool, and now they're willing to spend it in there. So Ops Chief said he said it 3 times during the sale that he was done. Okay, so let me jump to Fastcart, and Fastcart, give me your thoughts about. Well, you know what? Let me ask you this. First of all, are you in a space where now you're content, or are you still tempted from time to time? Or are you just holding out for something in particular? Do you fall into any of those categories right now with Star Citizen? Because you've been following it for quite a while.
Well, first of all, I just want to say more money, more money, more money before we start off. I had to get out the Wayans Brothers reference. But no, I'm in a space where I'm content with my fleet. I said my last ship that I bought the 3-pack for the Ranger, the motorcycle, the Tumble Ranger. Mm-hmm. That was like early 2019. And I said, okay, that's it. I'm not gonna buy anything else. And then the Nomad came out. And I didn't buy a Nomad outright. I bought the CCU to change my Titan to a Nomad because I could change it from 6-month insurance to lifetime insurance. But I didn't know at the time. I bought 2 CCUs because they both had lifetime insurance. But I think that if you apply another CCU on top of the Nomad, you will lose the lifetime insurance. Because when I look at my my nomad at the moment, it still says 6 months and lifetime. So I think it'll overwrite the lifetime if I see screwed up again. But yeah, right now I'm satisfied with my fleet. I don't see. I mean, I'm saying this now, but I'll probably eat my words in a few months. But I don't see myself getting anything else in the future.
Okay, so you're pretty content. You, even when these big sales come up, there's really no big temptation per se for you to. You don't go back and start thinking about, I could have buy, or are you pretty much like you're past that. You're pretty secure. Which one?
My last temptation was the privateer, the Kraken privateer, until I saw the price.
Okay, your curiosity went out the window. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, oh, that's simple because I've been merchantman, so like this is the upgrade to the merchantman, right? The bazaar and everything, sell everything. So I'm like, okay, so how much is it? $2,000? I'm good. I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Kelosal, let me go to you. Where are you at in the spectrum of all this stuff when it comes to ship buying, purchasing, melting, all that good stuff?
Well, after 6 years, I'm finally done. I mean, I've been planning. I've been planning my fleet for a long time.
Okay.
And I finally, I think last year was the year when I was like probably 90% done, and I was like, I just need one more ship. And I was talking to Griff about it for over a year plus. I was like, I just need that Pioneer. If that Pioneer could come back on sale,
and it did.
And I'm not even going to tell you the sob story of the first go around.
Yeah, go ahead and tell
I
them.
think we said that a couple of weeks ago when I was patiently waiting for what time was the slot? Was that the 11 o'clock slot? Which was, I believe,
noon.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 11 o'clock Eastern.
The wave, first wave.
I think it was like 8 o'clock, first wave, right? So I'm sitting there patiently waiting. I go ahead and put everybody on mute in Discord because I need to get my motion going, right? So I got to put everybody on mute so I can make sure I got my head and my juices going. And I'm ready to go, and poof, the whole entire server everything crashes.
Right.
Everything. CIG. And it not only crashed for like 10 to 15 minutes. 400. Yeah, it only crashed for 10 or 15 minutes. But for me, it was about like 46, 43 minutes. That was for me. I don't know how long technically they were down, but by the time I got back on, or at least it got back on for me, the first wave was gone. It was sold out. So of course I had to wait several hours until the second wave, and I finally got it in the second wave. I was really happy. I said I was going to only spend 25 cents, and I'm going to hold on to that. I only spent 25 cents.
Okay.
But to go back into your question, in terms of money spent and things like that, and I think in all seriousness, when we start looking at spending money, I look at it as, because this isn't the first crowdfunded games that I supported. I supported crowdfunding games that need not be mentioned that failed.
Right. Let me cut you off real quick, Kelosal, before I forget. Moohorns, thank you for the follow. Director Gunner, thank you for the subscription with Prime. And Azarest, thank you for the 2-month subscription with Prime. You guys are awesome. Okay, go ahead, Kelosal. I'm sorry.
I purchased some that failed, and I put in as much as like 200 at the start and things like that. So when Star Citizen came around the corner, I was a lot slower to jump into it. But when I saw Chris Roberts' name in it, I was like, okay, this is something that I want to follow because I was a huge Wing Commander fan, right? And so as here we are in 2020, and we're still putting money. I'm still putting money in the game. And I don't see it as just, I'm just purchasing something. I see it as an investment in a game that I've been looking for a long time. So I mean, if you see it as, some people are like, well, how you spending that much money? Well, ask that of somebody who just spent season tickets and been a season ticket fan for 20, 30 years for the Dallas Cowboys or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Buccaneers, or Atlanta Falcons, or about, things like that. I see it like that. If you're privileged, and I thank God every time, because we've been there when you didn't have any money, and I'm very frugal, so I save and save and save. But to get to the long story,
hang on, can I cut you off real quick? That was something different that you did that I didn't realize, that you actually saved I mean, not that you couldn't spend the money, but you literally were looking forward to IAE, and literally you said, "I've been over the year putting this money to the side." That it wasn't like a spontaneous, just out of the, you just decide, "Hey, I'm going to spend money." You kind of planned this out ahead of time, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
I put $2,000 to the side this year.
Mm-hmm.
I put $2,000 to the side because I knew exactly what I wanted, and I made sure that I structured my income the way so I can go ahead and get that. But like I said, I'm putting in for the investment of the game, so the game could be successful. I want the game that Chris Roberts is promising us, the best damn space game there is, and I think most people are doing exactly that.
Okay, Fastcart, were you going to say something? I thought they said for a second you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was thinking like in 2015, I saw that I was close to concierge. So before the October sale, like in November, I put in some money to get some store credit from CIG because I knew that I was going to get concierge a break 1K during the sale. So I just went ahead and put in the money, got my concierge. Then when the sale started, I was ready. So yeah,
okay,
I was similar.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in, and I'm going to present my next question to you guys. Yeah, I'm kind of that person who, throughout the year, I'm looking for certain careers at this point. When stuff goes on sale, whatever the latest new ship isn't it. For me, it's whether or not it's a career that I think I would be interested in. And most of the ships that I own, other than one, has to do with my options in the game, for lack of a way of putting it. I do want to be able to change up, for example, if I'm doing something for a little bit of time, or just for the next day, I don't feel like doing that anymore, I want to do something else. So I've kind of given myself options in the sense of that. As far as spending goes, it's been over for me, 7-year period. I guess I started in 2014, so 2013, 14. So it's been a 7-year period for me with the spending. And it has been, I've tried to do my best to temper it around support. I've tried my best to, but I will tell you, someone mentioned it earlier, the marketing gets to me. It really does get to me. I think I shared with you all my reaction. What were you going to say, Fastcart?
Well, I have a quick question. When you say marketing, how do you define marketing as it relates to CIG? Because as far as I know, it's like word of mouth.
Yeah, the marketing I'm referring to is the way they present stuff in their commercials, right? And I'm not saying every commercial grabs me, because if it's something I don't want to do, like when I saw The Privateer, I thought it was a cool commercial, but I had no desire to buy the ship, right? It didn't even make a difference what the price was. I just didn't have any desire to buy the ship. It's not my thing. On the other hand, when I saw the 600i, I didn't care what the ship did. I didn't care what was inside of it. I didn't. All I knew was I want that ship. Now, that was the only ship I bought that way. There was no other ship that I bought just based on just my initial thing. Everything else was a matter of me looking at it. Is it something I really, really like? Don't start with me, Kelosal. So that was the one. Agent, I'm on it, bro. I'm on it, Agent. Don't even mention it, because that's what I'm going to be keeping my eye on. Okay. So anyway, that's what I mean by their marketing. They have very slick marketing. And my question I was going to present to you guys is does that marketing make people vulnerable? And I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm just saying, we get past these sales and people usually say, I'm done. I'm through. I'm closing my wallet. And then this slick commercial comes out and people go nuts. I mean, not to be funny, but what was the ship, the new one that came out, the Nomad? They opened up IAE with that Nomad commercial, and people went out and spent money on a starter ship. These are people who already have starter ships with LTI. But don't get me wrong. Usually when that happens, it's about tokens. But I didn't hear people talking token. I heard people talking, ooh, I can use it for this. I can do this. It's got this cool flatbed in the back, blah, 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 blah. Is it the marketing? Is it that it's just slick? And yeah, you had that Mustang or that Aurora and you just wanted to upgrade, or you had that Titan you want to upgrade, or what is the deal with that people are still wanting to spend money like that?
It's all of the above.
Okay.
It's all of the above. If you are a pro, at what CIG does when it comes to this marketing, and I'm talking about the Star Citizens, right?
Mhm.
Those of us fans who sit there and follow it year in and year out. And you want that fleet, or you want that ship that you have that you purchased several years ago that has a 6-month insurance, or things like that. It's all about strategy, and that's also implemented in this. So if you honestly look at it, let's put it all into perspective. I mean, CIG has one of the best marketings I've seen in a long time, because it's not just as simple as, why isn't this ship here? What's wrong with the PR? If you look at, which we are, if you look at the data that they have throughout the years 2014, 2015, 2016, and you look at the ships that everybody's still waiting on, that somehow comes out of nowhere, or a new ship comes out of nowhere, where the old ship gets pushed back, and then the increase happens for that year. I'm just saying,
Mm.
if you look at the data, I think their marketing is one of the best marketing strategies I've seen.
Okay.
If you look at it holistically,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk more about that later.
Okay. Just a quick announcement, guys, just before you go in fast car, just a quick announcement, guys. STL, for those of you who came a little bit late, STL's coming to the show. He got hung up with something that he had to do, but he will be here in a bit. He said he tried to be here at the top of the hour, so just want to let you know there's no false advertising here. Hopefully, we're looking for him to show up right around the top of the hour, so that's why we're kind of having we're still starting the conversation anyway, but just so you know, we are looking for him to come. Go ahead, fast car, what were you going to say?
See, that's why I asked for a clarification of what you mean by my marketing. When I see the ship commercials and stuff like that, I just see that as advertising, as like in-game advertisement, in-lore advertisement. I always see it as marketing, but it is a cool demonstration of what they're capable of and what the game is capable of. So in that respect, yeah, I agree. But for me, I prefer more commercials like there's the Bishop Beach or the Squadron 42 trailer that came out in 2016, 2017, and stuff like that. So for me, that stuff, it doesn't encourage me to buy a ship. It encourages me to have faith in the game and and want to play the game more, rather than to buy specific ships. But I never seen a commercial that maybe say like, oh, I want that ship, because I was like, oh, that's interesting. At least for me, I know not everybody's like that. But when like someone else was saying it and Twitch chat, it's like videos like STLYoungblood. Should you buy that type? Even though it's not directly marketing from CIG, it's kind of marketing because it's word of mouth and stuff like that. That's what get me interested in buying specific ship. But as far as the Nomad specifically, I had a Titan that had 8 SCU. And the Nomad had 20 or 24, so that was a no-brainer for me.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Let's take a look at some data here. Let's see if I can get the right one up. Okay, this is where we are currently with the game. This was taken just a couple hours ago. Our funding is now at $335,946,542, which is a lot of money. Mad Style, thank you for the 2-month Prime. We appreciate that. Thank you, Mad Style. Good to see you again. And we're almost at the point of what they have is 2.9 million Star Citizens. Now we know that those aren't necessarily all ship owners, so it could be people who just came to the website and signed up and locked their name in. Even if it's half that number, if it's a third of that number, it would still equal out to almost 1 million people who have found Star Citizen and invested in it in some way with their dollars. This 335 million. Question: is this a lot of money? Now, mind you, I'm speaking in a serious sense. I'm saying, is this a lot of money for what this project is? A project that's developing 2 AAA games, one of which will be a universe that extends beyond just its initial launch. Hopefully, it will last for years. And will revenue have to continue to come in order to support it? Because my next question is a little bit loaded question around this amount of money. So, any thoughts on that?
It's enough money. I mean, if it was like something like Grand Theft Auto or something like Cyberpunk, it'd be enough money. But I mean, when you first started, you're like, oh, thank you for the subscription, agent.
3 months
When
on
you
top
first
of it.
started,
Thank you.
when it first started, they were like going for 10 million. So yeah, I mean, it's enough money. It may not be to the scope and scale of what it intends to be now, but back in 2014, this was like 100 mil winning money. But yeah.
So you think that 335 million is enough for 2 AAA games, and one of them which hopefully will go on in perpetuity?
Well, the thing is, you say two AAA games, but they're mostly. I see it as one universe, and they're both sharing the same technology. So yes, they are two separate games, but it's not like one is being made for. How can I say this? I mean, it has everything: FPS, space combat, and ground combat and stuff like that. If it's just one or the other and more specialized, then yes, it probably would be too much money. But if you incorporate it all into one game, it seems like it'll use up all the money that they currently have in order to make the game. But like I said, the same technology. It's on the same platform, and so it's like one for PS4 or PS5, and one for Xbox, and one for PC. Maybe it'll be different, but they're all for the same platform, and they all share in the same universe, and all share similar code. So yeah.
Okay. Dublin, I saw your post that you posted there. You mentioned that Cyberpunk was 500 million. If that's the case, I don't know. I've never seen numbers for Cyberpunk, so if those numbers are right, that's a pretty ripe number, $500
Oh, I
million.
didn't mean. I wasn't trying to say like any specific game.
No. This wasn't in relation to what you were saying. I'm just commenting because Dublin posted it in there. I didn't know Cyberpunk ran that much, and if it is that much, that's pretty interesting. Azraz asks a question here. He says, "Do you guys think that it'd be insensitive to finish the game quick on behalf of CIG's part, considering that the ship revenues are so high?" And I guess what he's saying is, do you think that they should get the game done fast and just worry about getting that done?
No.
Incentive.
Oh, is it incentive? Oh, I'm sorry, insensitive. I'm sorry.
That's why I said
do you guys think that the incentive to finish the game? I'm sorry, Azraz, forgive the old man's getting blind. Do you think that the incentive to finish the game quick on behalf of CIG's part, considering that the ship revenues are so high?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and elaborate, Kelosal, because we've talked about this a little bit.
Well, that's why I was asking. As well to elaborate a little bit more on that. But I mean, do you think that is incentive to finish the game quick on behalf of CIG's part? I mean, everything's an incentive, but if you want to get the game done right, I mean, I think they're old. Especially when they don't have a major developer or whatever
Publisher
funds coming in, a publisher like a EA, they don't have that, and they don't want that because you might get games that need not be mentioned, Fallout 76, and and other games that come out and just sell you a whole bill of goods and don't deliver. So and plus, you just for them to do and earn or get the pledges is what they call it, as much as they have right now without any major publisher in there is quite jaw-dropping in itself. And remember, they haven't spent 10 years yet. It hasn't spent 10 years, and they're developing a program from the bottom up, brand spanking new. So you have to realize that yes, all these are incentives, but as far as should they release it quickly because they are getting incentives, no. They have enough time to make sure that they put a game out that is completely different than everybody else. Completely different than everybody else. I love other games out there like ED and things like that, but you get some people out there that's sitting there running around talking about, well, these are some ships look like ED, and I made the comment, well, at least we can fly, at least we can walk around those ships that look like ED or things like that and so forth. And it's no disrespect to ED, it's no disrespect to ED, but we're doing things in this game right now, which is playable, by the way. You still can play it. You can play it. Those people trying to say that the game is a scam and stuff. You can subscribe and go in and play it, and you have to subscribe. Sometimes they give free fly week or things like that and so forth. And the fact is that this game is so far ahead of games that are out right now, even games that are finished. You can only imagine what it's going to be like when his vision is completely fulfilled. So yes, it's an incentive.
I don't think a vision will ever be fulfilled.
It may not. That's why you got the DLCs, right? but even with that being the case, you want to put out a game that everybody's going to be like, everybody go get this game, instead of be like, you've been spent this long to give me this, and I can't press this button, I can't even open the door. Just
okay.
It's promising to see that they have this without a publisher.
And I just want to say, a lot of people who are outside the community, people who are like looking from this like the outside looking in. A lot of people say this, like what Azra said. There's no incentive to finish if it brings in millions, and like that's the fear that the doubt that the people tend to have. Like, what is the incentive to finish the game if every time they bring out a new ship, it makes them millions of dollars? But, a lot of this stuff is just to fill in the lore, fill in the universe, and make Squadron 42 a better game, in my opinion.
Okay, that's a good point. I saw that question, Mad Style, you asked. He says, is that, talking about Cyberpunk, is that 500 million correct? Several millions are guesstimating 170 to 220. What it could be, Mad Style, what it could be is that usually when we see numbers like that, it also includes marketing costs. And marketing costs usually exceed the game costs. So with marketing and the development, it could very easily be 500 million with no question about it. Cyberpunk, as you guys know, has really been hyped. And I wouldn't be surprised if with marketing, that would be their number. But yeah, we'll see.
Chris Roberts once said, I think it was 2014, 2015, he said, whatever budget a game has, 2/3 of that goes into marketing, and 1/3 goes to the actual development of the game. So if you see 360 million, only if we were like a normal development process for a game, only 120 of that element, and the other just for the commercials, trailers, everything else.
Wow. Absolutely. Interesting with these numbers. Let's take a look at another chart here that we've got for you guys to look at. You guys may recognize this. This was the numbers for let's see, November. CIG, as you guys already know, most of you know, CIG, we thought that they made a lot of money back in May with Invictus, where they hit 15 million
they did.
Within that 1 month. And come to find out, we thought, wow, that was probably going to be the peak for the year. IAE comes along and exceeds that number with over 16 million. And I think the number's even higher than that. They've made a lot of money on IAE. And so, this is for the month what they made of November. Here's my question to the panel again, and to you in chat. Can this be sustained? And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying that each month it gets bigger. I'm just saying, is this type of response going to continue on things such as like an Invictus or an IAE? I'm not saying it has to be 16 million. Maybe it's 12 million, whatever. I mean, as the game progresses and as people see that the game is progressing, do you think that this will continue to happen? Or do you think that we're going to reach a certain point and we're going to go from 16 to 12 to 8 to 7 to 6 when it comes down to these annual events like Invictus or like IAE? Whichever one of you guys got some 2 cents on that, feel free to jump in.
You want to go first, or you want me?
I can go first on this. I mean, if they do what me, I try to be a conspiracy theorist, but it seems like that. I mean, if they go in Colosal's 101 book of increasing your profits, I mean, you would. It seems like it can be sustained, if they're able to pull some gimmicks or gag or some type of tricks like, oh, the ship was supposed to be out this time and it's not, we don't know when it's gonna come out. And all of a sudden the ship, several ships come out, and then another ship comes out, and you still got that big ticket item waiting in the wings that people are still purchasing but still haven't seen yet, right? Or you got a concept. I'll give you a good example: the Merchantman, the Endeavor, and things like that. So as long as you keep these types of ships that are out there, right, and you still give them the opportunity to be sold at the expense of or at the addition of bringing in newer ships, you could exceed this at least by, from what it's looking like, between 1 million to 2 million per year. That's what it seems
By the way,
like.
Just want to say real quick, Klaus, you're just twisting that knife in me. You just say BMM, Endeavor, keep going.
Yeah, it can be sustained. It seems like there is a pattern at doing that. I don't know if that's what they're, if that's intentional, but it can be sustained. Now, and that's just yearly. So when the game comes out, we'll talk those numbers later on.
Okay, but you're pretty much figured, as long as we're in this development stage, that it could, let's assume for the next 3 years, that we could probably see that same type of, at events, that type of response, as long as there's progress being made. Is that what you're saying? And as well as there's still that thing that's dangling out there that people may want to purchase.
Yeah, and by the way, this was made with an economy that has gone into the tanks in most worldwide economy.
Yeah,
and
true.
You still went up. So imagine when there's a recovery, when the economy both worldwide. You could maintain this, if not surpass it.
Okay.
I mean, and just to build on that, I think COVID, 2020 in general, a lot of that had contributed to to why CIG made so much money this year. As far as being sustainable, I think we'll see numbers close to this. If not just as much, it'll be like maybe a few million less. But I don't think, or more. But I don't think it's going to start like dropping drastically. Like you said, this whole progress. At least for the next 2 years. I don't know about 3 years. Hopefully by 3 years, the game will be out and have a different model by then. But at least for the next 2 years, I don't see it changing.
Okay. Let me throw another question at you guys. I'm not throwing rocks at the person who made this post, but a lot of you guys know that there was a post that went out on Spectrum just prior to IAE, where there was someone who posted and said, I've decided that I'm not going to make any more purchases on the game. And they explained their reason and rationale for why they were doing it. They were saying that they felt that CIG has not completely delivered in the way that they should, and that maybe if we hold back dollars, if we decide not to continue to support and buy, that this may be something that will get them to say, hey, listen, we got to go ahead and get this thing done. Not that there's a revolt going on, but that, we're seeing some folks that ain't happy. And yeah, and the attitude is that hit them in their pockets, right? Hit them in the wallet. And if the wallet starts to stagger a little bit, that might put some fuel or fire, I guess, under the process. But and don't get me wrong, this person was not trying to start a revolution on Spectrum. They were just expressing how they were feeling. But what we did see was that people spent more money, that people did buy. And that's not because people saw that post or not. What do you think? I mean, I do understand the hit them in their wallets, but I'm thinking about what Kelosal said earlier about we will be the first ones to also say if something comes out too soon, we will be totally disappointed.
Yeah, we will.
There's this tight wire. You know what I mean? We want the game, but we also want the game right. Fastcart, I know you were going to say something. What were you thinking?
Oh, Citizen Connection said Klaus and I on his line.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
I just want to say, like, this happened with EVE Online 10 years ago. They had the whole greed is better, greed is good, the whole selling a monocle gate for $70, and people left the game, and that hit them in their wallet. And you know what? They changed their policies on a lot of stuff. But that was something like CCP. They did some ridiculous stuff. They were selling in-game shirt, in-game merchandise for more cost than their real-life T-shirt costs and stuff like that. So they were just doing stuff that's out of bounds, and the community said, "No, this is not cool," and they paid for it. If CIG ever did something like this, or did something like that, yes, the community will tell them this is not cool, and they'll pay for it. But I don't think we reached that point.
Okay. Bladestone says, we want the game right, but with over 500 employees, what's taking so long? Why isn't there more progress? That's his thought process.
Can I take this one?
Sure, go ahead.
It's like saying if you had 9 pregnant women, why can't they produce a baby in 1 month? Simple as that.
That's one way to look at it.
The number of employees does help in making the game development more efficient, but it doesn't mean like if you have 1,000 employees, they can make the game in half the time. It doesn't work that way.
I think, and to Gladestone's point, I mean, this is a question that comes up quite often, and it's an understandable question when people ask it. Here's a quick breakdown of what I would say. Here's some things to consider. We know that CIG has over 500 employees, actually near 600 employees that are working for them, working out of 5 studios, working, globally, right? They're working 24-hour periods. Of course, they get days off, but they are working. There's always a studio, basically, that's always working. Out of those studios, there are multiple teams. All of those studios, take all 5 of those teams. I forget how many teams they said there were. It's like 50 teams, yeah. 50 or 60 teams. Those teams sometimes vary from anywhere from 4 people to 8 people who are working on something in particular. So you may have 4 people who are just working on theaters of war. That might be it. Maybe 6 people who are working on theaters of war. There aren't 40 people working on theaters of war. You have everything from engineers to artists. You have quality control people. There are all these different levels of folks. There's zillions of positions and producers. And my point is that if you divide those 50 teams up and say there's 10 people per, or 3 maybe in some and 8 in some other ones, that is just the standard way a studio operates. And they're getting ready to open a 6th studio now in Quebec, in Canada, right? So there's going to be another studio that's going to be operating, and that studio is specifically designed to be working on the systems, the star systems that we're going to be doing. Now, don't forget, the first few years, and I know this always sounds like an excuse, but it's the reality. The first 2 or 3 years that they were working, they were building the company. They were also working on the tools and mechanics. They were working through CryEngine. They were making a translation for that ultimately to the Lumberyard in 2016. Now, admittedly, Chris Roberts threw out some stuff there. We're going to see Squadron 42 in 2015. We're going to see Squadron 42 in 2016. Many of you who were around back in the day remember when there were many companies that were subcontracted, that were working under CIG. And only one of them was kept, if I'm not mistaken, and that was Turbulent. All the other ones were let go of, and CIG said, listen, we're going to do everything in-house. There's been a lot of faux pas, some things where they messed up. But then there's also been a lot of progress in what they've done. And Kelosal, you said it earlier, building a company from the ground up is no small task. And we're talking about the announcement was in 2012. So let's just say that was ended in November, December of that year. Let's just say January 2013 till now, 7 years. And for any of you guys know anything about AAA games, 7 years is about mediocre for when a game is in release. Usually it's anywhere from 7 to 10 years. So we're actually on time, for lack of a better term. I know it's painful to think of it that way, but not to be funny. What was the game somebody said? I think Director Gunner dropped No Man's Sky in the box earlier.
Oh,
No Man's Sky started in 2010.
Big one.
And came out in 2016, 6 years later, and you saw what happened with that, and that was with the big money of Sony behind them, and they're still working on it. Elite Dangerous started out in 2011, 2012 too. They are still working on it. And there are a lot of people who went into Elite, played it, they enjoyed it for a while, but it didn't deliver all the things that they wanted from a space game, and they left it. They put out a patch, they come back. Next spring, Odyssey is coming out. Their next patch, if you all saw it, you all saw the dev video, it looks like some other game that we know. They're trying to add to it, and they haven't implemented
what game is
it.
that, Griffin?
Well,
What
I'm
game
just
is that?
saying, they're trying to get that going right now, and that's not going until next spring. And even when it comes out next spring, it's maybe we can walk around, maybe we can jetpack around. They have no cities, they have no places to go yet. They have to put stations in, so their time clock is no different than ours, other than their stuff being dropped in little by little by little. And I'm not throwing rocks at these games. I'm just saying, look at the comparisons of other comparable games. And the question is CIG taking too long? And I know I always throw this question out there in the statement I say, if this wasn't transparent, if we didn't know about it, if it was all behind the scenes, half these conversations we're having, we wouldn't be having. We'd be playing No Man's Sky. That's what we'd be playing right now. Or Dual Universe. Or something along those lines.
Say, maybe not No Man's Sky. By the way, Scrap Austin said that my volume is still low compared to Kelosal.
Okay, really? I just boosted you like big time.
Okay.
No, Kelosal, you're fine. I've got you at 200 fast cart. So let me see if I can boost you a little more.
And while he's doing that, I didn't have any say in this part of the conversation, but I just want to, with all due respect to the gentleman that put that out, that's fine. If you want to do that, go for it.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, go for it. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's okay. But if anybody's going to encourage other people not to do it because you did it, I think that's highly disingenuous.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what is that going to solve at this state in the game? What is that going to solve in a developmental process? Mm-hmm. Absolutely nothing. It's going to solve nothing. Okay, so with all due respect, if you want to go ahead and not pledge, or if you're not going to go ahead and support the development of the game, because that's what we're doing. Okay, the development of the game, then pull your money, use it for something else that you want to go ahead and do. More power to you. You go ahead and do what you want to do. But it's just that here we are in year 7. It usually takes 10 years when you're developing something from scratch. There are a lot of things, I'm gonna tell you right now, there are a lot of things that are coming down the pipe that are quite wonderful.
Yeah, don't say more than you need to. Don't say more than you need to.
Yeah. Quite amazing. I can see what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, for those of you that are still interested in the game, that do pledge for its development, because that's what we're all doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then it could be a well worth investment.
Yeah. You
want to pull out? Let's go ahead, but don't encourage other people to start supporting other people because you may have a disinterest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's one thing I don't like for people to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say something real quick. Like there are other sci-fi space games out there now. In 2012, that wasn't the case. It was like Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen, and it was like nothing else. So I gotta give CR and some other companies props for making space games popular again. I tried to find a space game on my Android device, and I'm like, they're all cookie cutter. It's like they're a dime a dozen now on the Android store, and I'm like, none of them have quite the quality as what I'm expecting. So, but your mileage may vary. Maybe you'll find something out there on the PC or on Android or some other platform that suits your purpose. And then whenever, like you can take a break from Star Citizen and play a different game and come back whenever it actually goes live or when Squadron 42 launches.
Yeah, and I do want to say this, and I know Gladestone was saying it's been a frustrating year, and that's true, Glade. I mean, we don't want you all to think that because we're grinning and being positive that we don't feel frustration. Because everybody wants.
I'm still waiting for this ship. You talking about?
Everybody wants to see, first of all, the game succeed. Secondly, we want to play. We want to be able to get with our friends. We've been waiting a very, very, very long time for a game that we've never seen before. There's a lot of anticipation and a lot of desire to see the game happen. But I also know that you guys want the game to happen. I don't care where you stand. Everybody wants a game that's going to play well and be well. Yeah. And we want something. Listen, I played E for 6 years. I played Star Wars Galaxies for like 3 or 4 years. I want to have a game that honestly, when you say 10 years, I want to still be excited about Star Citizen. Now, for some people, like fastcart, Squadron 42 is his heart. For some people, that single player game is what they've been anticipating and waiting for. And I get the frustration on that one. I honestly do. I've said this before. People who are waiting on the single player game, I get it because that was the original pitch. But I knew when they talked about making Star Citizen, the universe, that was going to be a long haul. Just to give you an example, Kelosal knows this. I upgraded and got a ship I never thought I would get. One of the reasons why I didn't want to get it was because, first of all, the cost. And the second factor was I said, that sucker's so far down the road, forget it. I ended up getting an Endeavor. And I know that the Endeavor is not going to happen anytime soon. There are other ships that I wanted. In fact, Kelosal, what was the ship I had? A C2, right? And we know the C2 is right around the corner. I got rid of my C2 and went to an A2, which ain't around the corner. And I melted all my small ships that I had, which I had in my hand, and ended up getting the Endeavor, which I know ain't coming for forever. I've got an Orion. It ain't coming for forever. A Genesis. It ain't coming for forever. An Endeavor. It ain't coming for forever. You see what I'm saying? I've got plenty of ships that are way down the pipe somewhere, and that's my reality. I know that's what the deal is with those ships. But you know what else I found out? And we always joke around about this. Thank you, Ops Chief. Oh, my God. 5 sub gifts. Oh, my God. Thank you, Ops Chief.
Amazing.
Yeah, we got to listen to James Brown 5 times, y'all, just so you'll know, because it's going to go off 5 times.
What were you going to say?
I'm going to let James Brown go off one more time. Okay. But my point is that I go into it knowing that that's the case. Come on, James.
Get it on up, James.
But I know that's the case. I've got to wait. Yeah, get on up. I know I've got to wait for it. Come on, James, one more time.
Even with that, get on up, and Glaystone is saying, out of Stanton. I'm with you, Glaystone.
I like that, Glaystone. I'm
with you. It's time to go.
Yep. So understand that I had ships that were in my hand that I could play with, that I was more than willing to melt. And my point that I was going to say, and I know fastcart knew where I was going, what I was going to say is that the good thing about those ships is that every time CIG comes out with their next ship, they've learned more and it's better than what's come out previously. So I'm looking forward to what the Endeavor is going to be. I'm looking forward to what the Orion is going to be. I'm looking forward to what the Genesis Starliner is going to be. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, where's my Genesis Starliner? But I'm actually saying, yeah, go and build them other ones and get all the quirks and bugs out. So by the time y'all get to my ship, my Banu Merchantman, make sure that bad fella's together when it comes out,
Yeah. As much as I complain about not having the Endeavor or not having the Merchantman, I'm actually mostly okay with it because I know it'll be that much better when it does come out. Because I mean, especially in the hands of Founding 42 and
oh my God!
I better say this before STLYoungblood get here, but how much did the Endeavor go up and the Banu go up this year?
100.
Okay.
All right, wait a minute. We got to acknowledge these guys. Ops Chief gave 5 subs. Mad Style is hitting us with another 5 subs. Thank you guys so much. You guys were able. You guys made it. You made it so that we could give away 3 nomads last week. So thank you guys so much. Every dime that comes in, we turn right back around the ships and give them to you guys. So thank you for that commitment to us and supporting us.
Yeah.
Oh, Double said it went up 200. It started at 250, but now it's 450. But it was at 350, so that's what I meant by 100.
You should have got that ship.
Yeah.
STL's gonna tell you different.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I was going to tell you. And I had a conversation with Kelosal and my crew when I was thinking about the Endeavor. And the conversation that I had was I want to get a Nautilus and I want to get a C2 because I had a C2 and I wanted it back. And I said, but I'm really thinking about the Endeavor. And they said, well, you know what, Griff? Get your Endeavor. Hold on to it. And if you want to melt it. And then get the other 2. But at least you would have locked in the Endeavor at the price. Because everybody is saying this, guys, and I'm sure you've heard this. The Endeavor is going to grow in size and more than likely grow in price. So I ended up getting the Endeavor. I didn't melt it. I ended up keeping it. I actually kept it, just so you know.
I went ahead and got a CCU to the Endeavor.
You did? Oh, okay.
So I got two CCU to lock in the 350.
Okay.
Right, because I think it will. Because I mean, like the thing about the Endeavor currently is that it can only hold two modules at a time. So if you want to do more things with Endeavor than what those two modules allow, you're going to need another Endeavor. So.
Okay.
Well, but the thing is, the reason why, I mean, we can talk about, ship shows later on, but I just think that the Endeavor is the dark horse as of right now of ships in the game, because of the fact that what we see. I mean, if a while ago they said that the modular units that they have right now are just the beginning. There are multiple concepts and ideas they have that they haven't even given us yet. So think about that. If you have your Endeavor, and you can, if you're tired of that hospital wing, you can go ahead and go to a space dock, switch it out, and get something else. Now, what ship do you know has that type of has that type of consistency or choice to switch what you want to do? There's not that many ships out there, if not,
Not
if
that
any.
many, but there are some.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
not at
not at the level.
the
Not at the
level that the
level.
Endeavor has. So I think she is dark. Because, oh, by the way, you can leave her the modules out there and take the main ship and fly and do what you need to do and come on back.
True.
So Dark Horse, be careful. Don't sleep on the Endeavor.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to go to this next slide. We're running a little bit behind here, guys. And this is just so you guys will know. And I got to ask you all about this question here. Man, who would have predicted the Perseus? The Perseus sold 2.5, almost 3 million in sales on a day that it went on sale. I would have never predicted that. I thought it was a cool looking ship, but that was about it. That morning, some of you guys know I'm in Test Squadron. I was up at Test at 10 that morning or 11, whatever time it was, sitting in a room with a bunch of people, about 20 people, and probably 15 out of those 20 were sitting there figuring out what they were melting and what they were getting ready to do for the sale for when that ship went on sale. And I was totally blown away. Let me hit you guys with this question. Fastcart, go to you first. What do you think about the sale of the Perseus? I mean, they kept talking about, it's going to be between the Hammerhead and the Polaris, blah 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 blah. What do you think about this thing? That this was the highest selling ship. It is the record for the highest selling ship in a sale.
Yeah, you stole my answer.
Okay.
For a single day, that ship broke all records. The previous record was in Invictus Week. They made 2.3 or 2.4. This thing on the crowdfunding spreadsheet, not on this one, but on the crowdfunding spreadsheet, it broke 2.5 or almost 2.499, almost 2.5 million in one day. And here it says 3 million. So this ship made it the largest crowdfunding day in CIG's history, or I think any game's history, maybe. But yeah, for me, I wasn't that interested in the Perseus. It's not my play style. It's not something I need a big ship to do. Like my biggest ship right now are the Endeavor and the Measurement, because both of those are research and selling stuff. So the Perseus, I didn't really know anything about it, but now that I heard about it, I saw that big gun on the front. I'm like, whoa, that's a size 7. So I can see why people are interested in it.
Yeah, and to your point, Fat Docs, you're absolutely right. That was RSI day. The Polaris was on sale. That's why I said I think that the Perseus was 2.5 of that, and the rest of it would have been any other sales that day. But it was, as Fastcart said, for a ship sale, 1 day sale, that ship's numbers were extremely high. Kelosal, what are your thoughts about first of all, did you buy one? Let me ask you that, Mr. Moneybags. Did you buy a Perseus, or did you skip one?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I did not buy but it was stunning.
Okay.
It was stunning on what RSI did that day. I mean, but let's look at it. I think what else went on sale? The Polaris went on sale that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Polaris sold out. The Perseus stayed on sale and is still on sale.
Mm.
Okay, so I mean, but what a I was shocked and stunned. You started to see certain people. There are other people, other friends that we have that are probably listening that planned for this for a hot minute. As soon as they heard about that ship, as soon as they were trying to figure out if it was going to be a refinery ship or if it was going to be that type of a ship. I'm encouraged to see of the top selling ships that were within that were sold that day or whatever day that's been out for the last several years. What types of ships have sold well? Have they been capital ships? Have they been the type of corvettes like the Polarises slash Perseus? I mean, because if that's the case, that could be the trend in terms of how they stay solvent or how they stay consistent on an annual basis. That could determine what type of ship comes out the next year.
Okay.
Before we get into introduction, I want to push back a little bit. You said that the Perseus is still on sale. It's not a limited ship though, compared to like the Idris or the I can't even think of the other ship, but it's a normal it's a normal concept still. So that's why
it's just still available. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just still available.
Okay.
All right, so here's my other question to you, and we just had our special guest arrive. We're going to get him set up in just a second. Good to see him smiling over there. We're going to have him pop up on camera in just a second, but I'm going to present a question to you guys, and he can kind of overhear this question. This sale of the Perseus, was this just emotional, or was there some logic to it? Were there people who saw the Perseus versus the Polaris and said, "Hey, smaller crew, I can do better with a few less people than normal, and I can still go out and, be kind of a cap killer, or at least close to a cap killer"? Or was this just people reacting to the next flavor of the month when it came to like a battleship? The Polaris is nowhere in sight. Was this just that ship that people said, "Hey, you know what? The Polaris is nice to buy, but maybe I'll go with this instead"? What do you think were the motivations behind people spending this type of money and breaking a record for a ship sale, which, again, we all admitted we never would have expected that to happen with this ship? Fastcart, let me start with you.
I have no idea. Like I said, it's not my play style, so I really have, I legitimately have little idea. As far as a ship bigger than like a 600i or something like that, that's too much ship for me. But for some people, they want to do it for their org, or they have friends that they want to get together and do stuff with. There's a whole bunch of reasons that I mean, not to say I don't have friends. It's just like it's not my play style.
We're your friends. What are you talking about? We are your friends. Okay.
I know, for a ship like that's a big ass though.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right, Kelosal, what about you? Any thoughts about that?
I really don't know, Griff. I mean,
Thank you.
When I saw the ship, I was like, okay, who's going to get it? And there are several people, including one of our lovely people. I call him the Dark Knight. He was like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. It was just all over. But let me just get, I'll tell you this. For every action, there is a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, the Perseus is out, but there's got to be something that they're thinking about to handle this type of magnitude. It's got to be something. That type of, it's got to be something to propel type of firepower.
That's a nice Star Wars quote, by the way. That nice pull. Don't think I didn't hear that.
So I think there's really two different things that really propelled the Perseus to be as popular as it did, and one, it's the size 7. There's almost like this mystique around this size of weapon that's really attracting people in, and we saw it when the Nautilus came out. I said over and over and over again, I have no idea why this mine layer needs to have size 7 or size 7 weapons on it. It seems a little bit OP, and now all of a sudden you're talking about a ship that has one of those on top and on bottom. And then it's also got the kind of fun title of sub-cap killer. I think most people are hearing that as cap killer and expecting to go out and do a lot of damage against other ships. And while a couple of these could absolutely take out a capital ship, I'm assuming. I think it's that ability to kind of get that cap ship killer in really a more attainable price range. I think a lot of people that feel like, I want to be able to have that Javelin class, destroyer, the thing with the big guns. I want the broadside, but I don't want to pay $3,500 or whatever it's up to now. I mean, the price tag on this was fairly reasonable comparatively. I mean, it's a lot for a digital spaceship, but
Yeah.
I think there's some of the things that kind of attracted people in a certain way, and I think it was really just that pent up demand for that capital ship with the big guns, and this was the first chance people really had to grab it.
Well, my question is, if the big gun is they're doing it, what are people compensating for? No, I'm kidding.
Well, I'll throw this out. I know when people first heard $600, they kind of freaked a little bit, right? I mean, they were like, "Holy smoke, 600 bills for this thing!" Especially, I think they were doing things like comparing the size of it. You know, it's not like it's a really, really big ship, and they're saying $600. And like we said earlier, none of us expected that the sales for that ship would be the way they were. And STL's already been briefed on kind of where the subject matter of this conversation is going. I want to transition from that and show you guys two slides very quickly. One of them that pops up is this one. This was pre IAE, and that number on the bottom there, fastcart, correct me if I'm wrong. The one on the bottom is for this year, and the red is showing just prior to the IAE in November, right?
Yeah.
And then we go from that one to this one, which was post IAE. And you can see that red line grew substantially. We are at 70 million, if I'm not mistaken, right now for this year. That's come in relation to Star Citizen CIG. We still have the month of December that we have to go through. Let me put the hard question out there for you guys. And this is the big question of the night. What is it that is keeping money flowing in your opinion? What is it? In the midst of COVID, pandemic, economies, people being tired, failed promises from CIG, no timeline for Squadron 42, where's Chris, where's Aaron? I mean, all these things that have come up. But yet and still, not only was there new money that came in, but those of us old dinosaurs melted, flipped, pulled credit, and did stuff for IAE. What is it that's still keeping this energy going at this stage? And STL, since you just came in, we're going to put the heat on you first. Thanks again for coming. We appreciate having you. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Good call. I think there's two things really that do in this, and one of them you already mentioned as a negative, but I think it also is a positive, is the pandemic. You know, there's a lot of people that have been stuck at home and they're not going out and they're not burning money on a $12 beer at the bar. You know, it's they're staying at home and having a $12 12-pack and making sure that they're not doing anything. And I think people are saying, like, I'm not going out and doing things with my life right now. I'm kind of quarantining myself. I am limiting the experiences that I can have elsewhere. And you've seen it. I mean, people turn to the video games during this entire year, even people that weren't into gaming before. You look back and what was it? Animal Crossing. That was the big thing that kind of came out amongst like the non-hardcore gamers. Switch sales were going through the roof. Like kind of just easy to enter types of games were becoming big. And I don't think that's necessarily different for us. People aren't taking that yearly vacation, so what are you going to do with that money? Well, maybe I'm going to treat myself to some nice Star Citizen stuff. I think that's probably the single biggest thing. Aside from that, honestly, the patches that the last couple that we've had have really been better than a lot of others that we've had. I think there's a lot of people that'll say, yes, content was cut from them, but overall stability has improved. I think the experience in the game is better, so people are a little more confident kicking money in. But yeah, it's I think those are kind of the two big ones. It's kind of that feel as well as just what people are, doing with their lives right now.
Okay. Kelosal, that stimulus check. I know that's what you did with it. You probably just bought a few ships, but what about you? Any thoughts on that?
Stimulus check can barely pay for rent.
Where do you live?
My goodness, let's not talk about the stimulus check from the United States government. I mean, all that, exactly what STL has said. You got to look at, there are a lot of government programs that has halted, like student loans. Those have halted for a while. They're starting to reenact that. We've had until from around March all the way up until at least for the CARES Act up until December 10th, or at least next week or something like that, unless Congress decides to go ahead and do something. So even with all that, there have been a lot of support from the government to allow people to try to recover. And and then of course with people staying home, just like STL said, and things like that, people have been a lot more
extra.
frugal because of their situations.
Mm-hmm.
So that could definitely help with that. I think that was the intent, right? The intent was to help people save money, because you know what it is. When you help people save money, they usually spend more,
Mm-hmm.
and you usually give back to the government a little bit more when they usually do that. So that probably plays into a lot of that. So
Okay.
I mean, we know that 2020 was a hell of a year, but also if you look at it, it could be where people did save a lot more because of the troubles of what's going on.
Fastcart, you and I had planned on going to SitCon this year, right?
Mm.
Do you think that maybe some of the money was even funneled from that? People who maybe had been saving money to make that trip out to Los Angeles, that trip got ended, so maybe they had a few extra bucks and they decided to spend it. Was that a possibility?
It's definitely a possibility, at least for me. Like, I decided to, instead of going, I put that money into building a new PC instead of since I wasn't going to SitCon. But I also want to say, people spend everyday money, especially stuff like Starbucks. So people not going to work and going to Starbucks every day, that money save up and you can spend that on certain stuff. Also, people can't go to movies or sporting events, and they didn't have the normal forms of entertainment. So yeah, the stuff that people can do, they can play video games, and Star Citizen happens to be a video game. So yeah.
Okay, good point. All right, I want to throw a number at you guys here, a chart. And this is for chat too, so you guys can check this out. We talked about how much money came in, the 16 million that came in this month, a little bit over that. We talked about how much money CIG has brought in this year. And then someone showed me this chart from PUBG. This is their mobile game. This is their chart from last year. I just want you to know that. This isn't from 2020, it's from last year. But in the month of August, in 1 month, they brought in $160 million. $160 million on a mobile game. That's a game that's finished, by the way. What are the arguments when it comes down to this thing about, CIG has had enough money? Some of us remember there was a certain person who prophesied that Star Citizen couldn't be done unless we hit over 300 million, and we're past that number. This is cycling back to that original question I asked you guys earlier. I won't say the name. But I will cycle back to the question I asked earlier, and you weren't here earlier, STL, but the question was, is $335 million where we are right now, is that ridiculous? I mean, is it enough? Will there need to be more? Someone earlier mentioned, in order for this to sustain 335 million, we need to continue bringing in revenue. Will that number... Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just argue the simple capitalistic approach of, does it matter? Right. At the end of the day, they're a company. They're trying to make money. They have $335 million or whatever it is. The expectation is that they come up with a game at this point. If we don't understand how they're going to do it, they at least better figure out how they're going to do it, or there's going to really be some backlash and potentially legal issues that come out of it. So in my mind, I don't necessarily look at it and say, 335, is it enough? Is it not enough? That's what they have, and they have something that they need to deliver to us at that point. So I kind of look at it a little bit different. Like, I think people look at it because it's the biggest crowdfunded whatever, right? Everybody looks at it and says, like, this is setting new expectations, and the time frame on everything is long. I mean, my first video on this was in 2014. We started hearing about this game in 2012. It's 2020. We're not that far from a 10-year anniversary of not even being out of an alpha. So I understand the perspective people have on it, but the dollar amount in my mind is a little bit irrelevant because we have a certain expectation of what's going to be delivered to us, and they need to do it somehow.
Yeah.
And if they feel they need more money, they can keep trying to raise it, and we're obviously still spending money to support it. So I don't know if it really matters. Okay.
STL introduced something here, Kelosal, that I think backers don't think about. They are trying to make money. They're not just trying to make a game, right? I mean, they have to have a money to sustain the company. You have to pay people. And there's the future of CIG as well. So we've seen financial reports that come out each year. We've seen some accountability there, that there's money that does go out to pay people and, all these 500, 600 employees that they have. Are the backers being too hard? Are we being too hard about this thing? STL mentions this thing. Yeah, there is maybe a little bit of that first time crowdfunded, record breaking Guinness, blah, 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 blah. But is there unfairness when we look at other games that have spent, I think we even talked about the fact that GTA 5 was $300 million. We're exceeding that right now. Are we being hard on them? Are we where we should be? Or
no, I mean, how can you tell somebody who's investing that you're being too hard?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're putting money into they're investing money into a game, and you're trying to go ahead and say, okay, fine, thank you for your investment, but you're being too harsh. But keep on investing though, keep on investing. So I mean, I think we all understand, or at least a lot of us understand that we're investing in the development of the game. I think it is our job to kind of remind them, in terms of the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And not push them to the point to where they're bringing out a product that is just completely incomplete. So there's a balance, but of course, when it comes to money, I mean, there are some people who just because they're giving you $1, they want every bit worth of it. And they want to tell you how you need to run your own company, and all they're doing is they haven't, put even, the type of money that you even put in to even start up the company. So, I mean, it's a fine line. I'm not going to straddle the fence here and there, but I just think that people just need to understand. I think most people do understand. I think most of the people here that do support through philanthropy or whatever type of money they want to go ahead and donate, I think they understand. But you just get that loud minority that sit there and they bark all day long, and and kind of ruin it for everybody else because the demand for something to come out and they're just not ready, and then they sit there and say, see, I told you so, when the truth is remember 3.9, what was that patch, 3.9, one of those patches that was still that should have stayed in Evocati.
2.9, yeah.
And they really pushed for that patch to come out, and that patch came out and it sucked.
I remember that. Yeah.
Right? And that's because everybody was like, it needs to come out. It's been there too long, blah, blah. I think it was 3.9 or 3.10. It was one of those patches.
Yeah.
It was one of those bills, and it completely stunk it up. So sometimes we just need to take a step back and allow them to develop while pushing, encouraging them by pushing them a little bit.
Go ahead, FC.
I just want to say, CIG is going to be one of those companies that's going to be like Elon Musk and say, our stock prices are too high, or we're making too much money, we shouldn't have this money. I don't know what he was thinking when he made comments like that, but it had an effect. And, their company, they need to pay the employees, they need to pay for the infrastructure, and they need to pay for their internet and stuff like that. So, yes, I mean, they're going to find ways to either hire more employees or develop new ways to utilize the income that they're making, and whether or not it's too much. I mean, it's a capitalistic system. How can you say what is too much and
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to show you guys a video real quick. It's only a 7-minute and 54-second video. It's by a guy named CureForIgnorance. And I stumbled across this video. He made it on November 10th, and it's called 3 Things You Should Never Buy in Star Citizen and 7 Things That Maybe You Should. STL, I'm sure you'll appreciate this video. So I want our panel to watch this, and then I want to get their feedback on whether they agree. Also, chat, if you guys agree with some of the things that are said here, all the better. So let's take a quick look at that, okay?
Hello everybody, my name is AR Cure. Going to run through real quickly a couple of things that I think you should probably never buy with real money with Star Citizen, and a couple of things you probably should buy with real money if you plan on playing now and into the future. That'll probably help you out. So first thing we're looking at is this chart I made. This is a chart of value of the ship, and the way I've calculated this is that we're looking at the amount of alpha UEC the ship costs in game versus the amount of dollars it costs in real life money if you buy the thing on the website. So we're looking at alpha UEC divided by dollars. So if we look at something like a Grey Cat buggy, thing's only a couple of thousand alpha UEC in game, but it costs $15. So that thing is a horrible value. You can earn that very quickly in game. So it's all the way on the left side there. Again, something that's a great value, the Anvil Carrack, is $600, so quite a bit more, but it costs 27 million alpha UEC in game. It would take you a long time to grind to make that. And the carriers are a good way to make money too, because you can carry a good amount of cargo. You can haul around a couple of ships, whether there's a couple of Argos, cargo Argos in the bay, or a Pisces, a couple of rovers. It's a great value. It's all the way on the right-hand side, the Carrack, best value in the game right now. As far as alpha UEC it costs in game divided by the number of dollars it would take you to buy that. They actually do sell alpha UEC on the website. They sell it for $1 per 1,000 alpha UEC. That is a bad value. I would never buy that. So you can make 5,000 alpha UEC, 10,000, 20,000 alpha UEC pretty quickly in game with a little bit of effort, maybe an hour or so, even if you're just starting out. So I would not spend $5, $10, or $20 on alpha UEC on the website. Yes, you get that starting money every time there's a new wipe, every time there's a new patch, but again, you don't need it. You can make that in game very easily. Ground vehicles, bad value. They're all left side stuff. Heck, a Dragonfly is like $50, and the thing's only a couple 100,000 alpha UEC in game. I would not buy that with real money. Earn that in game, because you look at something just double the price. The Cuddy Black is $100, and it's 1.8 million alpha UEC. So it's a huge difference. If a Cuddy Black was 500,000 alpha UEC, then that would stack. But the more expensive the ship, typically the more expensive that ship is in game, so the better value it's going to be. With one notable exception, the Prowler. The Prowler is a $440 ship, and it's only 2.5 million alpha UEC in game. Again, compare that to the Cutlass, which is $100 and 1.8 million. So it's way out of whack as far as price in real life money versus price in game. The Prowler is cool. I would never buy the Prowler with real money. Let's look at some recommendations, things that are good to buy. So we've got the Avenger Titan. That's a really good value. I need to adjust that actually. That's still showing the old price of $50, but the Avenger Titan is still a good value. The Caterpillar, another great value, is $295. So it's kind of expensive. We're getting up there a little bit, but it's a great way to earn money in game running cargo. Argo Mole, if you have friends and you like to mine, the Argo Mole is a great value because the thing is about 5 million, a little more than 5 million in game, and it's $315. So it's a good ship. And again, all the way on the right hand side of the Carrack, you can't beat it for alpha UEC per dollar spent. It's a great value. With the IAE 2950 sale coming up, there are 3 ships that if they come on sale, you should look at getting. The Banning Merchantman, the Endeavor, and the Hull D. They're all about $350. None of them are in game yet, but if you plan on playing this game well into the future, these things, when they're released, will surely increase in price. And if you buy them now, you're going to save yourself a ton of money later. So again, never buy with real money. Alpha UEC from the website. Ground vehicles, unless you use them as LTI tokens, they have LTI insurance, you're going to upgrade them. I would not buy a ground vehicle with real money. An Ursa Rover is $50, and it's only 70-something thousand alpha UEC in game. Earn it in game. Save yourself the money. The Prowler, again, just a bad value. Earn it in game. 2.5 million alpha UEC. You can make that with the Caterpillar in pretty short order, and the Caterpillar costs less by about 50% than the Prowler. If you're going to buy things with real money, the Avenger Titan, again, that's gone up in price a little bit since the advent of the 100 series, but it's a good value. Caterpillar at $295, another good value. You can run that by yourself if you run in safe areas where low population servers. You can run it with friends. It's a good ship. The Mole, especially if you have friends, great value. The Carrack, $600. It's expensive. If you're lucky enough to get one when they're $250 or $350, so much the better. But even at $600, it's a good ship for the money. So ships that aren't in game yet, that if they offer them with the IAE sale, I suggest you pick them up. These are all $350. The Banning Merchantman, it'll probably at least double in price at release. Last estimate I saw for the cargo capacity was like 3,500. It'll probably come down quite a bit. I expect that to come down to probably half of that, so maybe 1,700 SCU, which would still be 3 Caterpillars worth of cargo. And you get the Caterpillar and the Defender as loaners if you have the Banning Merchantman in your hangar. So for a $350 ship, you get the $295 Caterpillar and a $225 Defender. So you're getting over $500 worth of ships for a $360 ship for loaners. It's probably going to be a while, probably longer than I want to admit before the Banning Merchantman comes out, but it's a great value. If you can't swing the $350 for the whole ship, I would recommend just buying the Aquila to Merchantman CCU and putting that in your hangar and holding on to it. Thing's only $40, and I'm sure this thing is going to go up in price, so that thing is only going to appreciate. And if you want the Bandit Merchantman later, or you want to use the Bandit Merchantman as a stepping stone to something larger, buy that $40 CCU and hold on to it. I hope they offer it. It's going to be a good thing if they do. The Hull D, more than 20,000 SCU of cargo. That's crazy, and it's capital class. It's not as limited as the Hull E is. If they offer the Hull series, I would definitely grab one of those. The iCache is a necessary component before this comes in because they have to deal with all the boxes on the thing. But the Hull D, if they offer it, grab one, or at least grab a CCU to it. Again, $350. You can buy a $40 CCU. They go from the Aquila to the Hull D and keep that in your hangar and use that when it comes around. The Endeavor is probably the longest one out, the furthest one out. Years away probably, but the thing's got to skyrocket in price. It's huge in length. It's incredibly modular, designed to be that way. I wouldn't even bother buying the different modules. Just buy the ship, $350, or again, buy that Aquila to Endeavor CCU for $40 as insurance. Keep it in your hangar. Don't melt it. If you melt the CCU and you put it in your buyback, if the ship goes up in price, that CCU may adjust with that price. So if these things go up to $600 later and you've melted that, you might have to spend $300 to get it back out of there. So I would spend $40 and leave that $40 in your hangar and wait for the ship to come out. Okay, that's my video. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully that 7 or 8 minute rundown there was useful for you. And spend your money wisely. If you don't have the money to spend on ships, obviously don't spend them on ships. But try to plan a little bit. Look at the IAE schedule and decide what you might want to buy, and look for it. And hope you guys have a great day. Bye.
You're muted, Griff.
Thank you. I want to throw in a couple qualifiers real quick. Friday's SCL, CIG confirmed that the Merchantman will maintain its cargo capacity. So he thought that maybe they might cut it. He said they said specifically no, they're going to keep it at this same cargo capacity that it has. The second thing that I want to put in mind here is that the numbers that were given, please understand that this is all based upon a game that is in development. So I'm using for an example the issue with the Prowler. What he said about the Prowler is very true in relation to how much you spend on dollars versus how much you can get it for in the game. But just know this, CIG, just like if you remember the 890 jump when it first came out was $600, and then it went to $895 or whatever it is now. Just so you'll know, game prices can change even more than real money prices. So keep that in mind. I don't think the Prowler is going to stay at $2 million. So if you bought one, right? So if you bought one, don't keep your tears in your eyes for right now, just so you'll know. So I'm going to go to let's go to fastcart, then STL, then we'll go to Kelosal. Fastcart, what did you think about the video?
I agree with most of things that I can't say much about the Prowler. That my interest, but I think the Hull D, I would kind of push back on that one a little bit. I mean, what is it, 450 or 350? It's too specialized to recommend as a definite buy. Even if it's a good buy for the UEC and stuff like that. I mean, unless you're hauling cargo. Mm-hmm. And that's all you want to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I think it's too specialized. But everything else, I mostly agree with.
Well, that point's exactly right. Just because something's a good value doesn't mean it's a good value to you. Mm-hmm. And if the Hull D, for example, is something that, maybe UEC per dollar is a good ratio, but sure, then it's a good value technically as far as ships are concerned. But if it sits there because you can't ever afford to fill up the cargo that it has, 40,000 units of cargo or whatever it is, 20,000, that's going to cost a lot of money to do, so unless you have an organization supporting you, it's going to be hard to do that yourself. Or if it's just, I don't really enjoy doing cargo, so I'm not going to run cargo, then it's a poor value. But I think the other things in there too, I think I've been saying that for probably 2-3 patches now. It's just like, don't buy ground vehicles. I don't care what comes out. If it's got wheels, I don't want you to pick it up. It's a bad value unless you're going to use it for LTI. I get it. It just never makes sense. As far as the Prowler is concerned, honestly, $440 is a stupid price tag to slap on it. It got hit with the alien tax, the dropship tax, and the combat tax, so it got kind of that triple whammy.
So much tax,
right? So it was an unfortunate setup for the Prowler. That being said, Prowler is one of my favorite NPC combat ships because they don't spam the missiles at you, and that's the big struggle with the Prowler, is that you don't have the countermeasures or the missiles yourself. So you get missiles shot at you, you pretty much have to just bolt. But it is a little bit limited. You can't do cargo. Your exploration is going to be whatever the ship's going to allow you to do. You don't have mining beams. You don't have tractors. You're designed really just to get in and drop. So I'm personally kind of using it a little bit outside of its intended purpose. So if it changed, I wouldn't be surprised. That being said, like we were talking, there's no way it stays at $2 million. I mean, I think it's cheaper. It's cheaper than a Cutlass in the game. I think. As far as the pricing is concerned, it's crazy.
I mean, don't forget, this game is about testing. The reason why it's cheap compared to other stuff is because they want people to buy it, and so whenever they have enough data, information, stuff like that, the price will change, and the next step that they want to test will be a good buy. So. Yeah.
And I'll say this to you, STL, that Prowler, one of the things that I'm still spooked about that we haven't seen, and I know you already know is because you're an owner, that Gravlev stuff, if they put that in the way it's supposed to be, and those freaking shields, people might be spinning a whole nother song about the Prowler later on. I mean, Kelosal and I have talked about this whole thing with these Taveran ships. If they put that tech in there, that value might exponentially change differently. So we'll have to see how that mechanic plays out on that ship,
I do have to say, you two do hurt me when it comes to ground vehicles. I have like 4 ground vehicles, and mostly it's the Dragonfly and the Ranger and stuff like that. I don't own a tank or anything, but it still hurts me to hear that. So I'm right there with people in Twitch chat saying that, don't say that about the ship I own.
I'm gonna let Kelosal speak, and I'm gonna tell you what I did with all of those vehicles that he was talking about. Go ahead, Kelosal, jump in.
No, I'm just going to agree with my colleagues all up here. I just got one word: melt.
All right.
If you decide to go ahead and do that and buy these ships, even at the behest of everybody's telling you this is not the best bang for your buck, you can always melt it and use that as some type of a differentiation on that. It'd be okay.
That's a good point. And for you guys will know, last year's IAE and this year, one of the things that probably all of us took advantage of was that aspect of them giving the 10-year insurance. That was something that we didn't have before. And so melting, particularly if you're one of those early people who got stuff that had 6 months or 2 years or 3 years, the fact that you could melt and get that same ship back and get it back with the 10-year insurance was a bit of an incentive. Now, what I did, and Kelosal knows this, what I did this year, and this was my last time, I literally got rid of everything. I've been saying this for last year. Everything that was less than $300, I melted. Everything. Didn't make a difference what it was, no matter how much attachment I had to it. I had my very first Aurora LX that I fell in love with in the early days. That sucker went. Everything went. Mostly because of what was said here. There are so many of those ships that you can work toward. And we've talked about there are different ways people approach this game. Some of you guys are into the grind. You will spend your hours and hours grinding from the very beginning through. There are those of us old guys who are retired, who don't have that type of time, who literally, I've spent my ship money on the higher end of careers that I know I want, but I'm going to be more than happy to work my way up through those yellow jackets, through those Auroras, whatever they are, anything that's less than $300, I'm going to be happy to go out and mine and gain that stuff that way, just because I'm not going to have the time to put in. So I think STL said something earlier too about value, and that's what this show was about value. Value is very subjective to what you think is important, but we still want you to be smart about your buying. Now, you guys, again, I confessed this earlier. The only time I wasn't smart about my buying was when I was sitting at VerseCon in Austin and the commercial for the 600i came up. I didn't care. I've said this before. I didn't care what was inside of it. I didn't care what it did. That was the only ship I ever bought from a reaction. I want that ship. That was one time.
Cough, Origin, cough.
Yeah, don't start on Origin. So, so my point is, value is what's important to you. But we do, and we've emphasized this. I know STL does it in his videos. We encourage you that if you're, first of all, if you're spending money, it's the development of the game. We really want to see it about the development. And at the same time, you've got to balance that out with what are the things that because the other problem is that if you have everything, what are you going to do in the game later on? That's another. I mean, that's a real factor. I think people don't think about. Don't get me wrong. There are some people who have done it legatus, and that's because they're supporting. You know, maybe it is about bit of mischief, but I think it has more to do with supporting and investing in the game.
I think some of that too, though, is like there's a lot to buy that you can't buy right now. You know, and that's some of what I look at too.
Yeah.
You know, for example, I've made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of credits in the game, and I've bought a couple ships, but for the most part, I just buy components all over the place.
Yes,
for testing, for replacement, for upgrades, for different situations. I mean, I've probably got 4 different builds for my saber. I've got, you know, a hammerhead build that every time that I lose it because it's a new patch, God, I hate that ship. Every time I have to re-equip everything on it, and it's like 2.5 million credits right there. Like it's there is a lot of ways to spend money in the verse that's not just on buying ships. And I think what you're doing is essentially saying, I'm spending money on this ship, and I kind of hate the disclaimer too. Like I know we're doing it ourselves here and saying, you know, it's about the development of the game, but you're still getting something in exchange for that, and you're comparing what you're getting because you're making a buying decision. So, but at the end of the day, I think what it comes down to is you are picking up the ship that you want, the hull that you want, knowing that probably everything on board of it is pretty much garbage, and you're going to swap it out anyways. So you're giving yourself a starting point because you know, if you think about, you know, a saber, it's 2.8 million in credits right now. I can't remember what it is. Let's just call it 3 million for the sake of argument. You know, you probably have an opportunity to put another 500 grand in components in there, and then all of a sudden you're now setting yourself back even further because you had to pick up, you know, the ship ahead of time. So I don't know. I mean, I kind of get it, but it's also one of those things, like everybody's got a different reason for buying stuff. And I think for me, I'm in the middle of my life. I'm busy. I've got young kids. I've got a career. I've got, you know, the channel I'm trying to work on. I've got, you know, videos or the, you know, gaming side of things. And for me, I know I'm not going to have the time to grind. So if I get a lot of the ships that I want right now, and this kind of falls kind of in your line there, Griff, is that you are able to enjoy and do what you want to do in game from that point on. And because of where I am in my life and where I am, like I'm busy because of my career. My career also means that I have the money to buy some of these ships. You know, I'm not out there buying like, you know, Jads and Idrises and stuff, but you know, a little bit here and there.
No, that's a very good, very, very good point about keeping some balance in the process of all this. Fastcart, were you going to say something?
I just want to say, or repeat what Citizen Shenanigans said. Only put more into Star Citizen you want to give toward development. Don't spend for a ship or game value. And I have to agree.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're all saying.
Yeah. I think that STL, you mentioned a good point. I was having this conversation with one of our guys at Test Serious Punch. We were talking earlier about the things that people have not considered when it comes to the game. I jokingly told him that on my 890, I was so impressed with the fact that I had 32 gun slots, you know, for rifles and stuff. And then I said, but if I fill all of those, it's about 80,000 in UEC just for me to put guns on the ship. I haven't gotten to components and all this other stuff. So you're right. There is this whole nother dynamic when we want to, quote unquote, trick out our ship. Right. Yeah. And you said 4 different variations. I'm still trying to get one good one. So, you know, but I mean, just to think about that, those are going to be the things. And the fact that CIG is built in these other dynamics, such as wear and all this other stuff, you know, the stuff failing, that's going to constantly have us dipping into the game as well. But I do want to kind of reflect back on this piece about value. And STL, you didn't get the first question, so I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to give you the very first question that I asked the other two guys is, what is it that has kept you coming back in this sense of Star Citizen? Whether you're spending new cash, whether you're recycling cash, credit, melting, what is it that kind of keeps you even? And I mean, you've been through this process for quite a while. What is it that kind of keeps you still in that zone right now when it comes to the game?
I like the game.
Okay.
It's simple for me. You know, I like the game. I like the vision. I like where it's going. I see development. It may not be at the pace that I want it to be, but it is moving forward. And I have confidence that it's going to get done. I will say that I am not spending money on it the way that I did before. Some of that is a little bit of frustration about the time it's taking to get there. Some of that is just the world that we live in right now. And, you know, I've added another kid to the family, and it's just finances are a little tighter than they used to be, you know, but I think I have faith in the project, and I think my spend is reflective of that faith. And as it, you know, As I feel a little bit worse about the project, I see a concept come out, and I'll do my should you buy video on it, and I'll be like, all right, if you're really bought in, I'll get this ship, but I'm probably not going to. So I think it really is, I think, a reflection of how I feel playing the game, and I'm on every night playing the game, and I enjoy it every night. So it's probably not my most expensive thing that I do. So it's hard to really complain about it.
Okay, this is my last question to everybody for the night in relation to this value and the investment that we've all made into the game at these different levels. What will it take about Star Citizen? And I'm going to speak about Star Citizen more than Squadron 42 because it's too easy to answer with Squadron 42. I don't know whether you invite people into this game. And my question is, what will you need to see where you start to feel very good about inviting people? Because I know I only invite very select people into the game because it's just not there. What will it take for you to feel like the game is in a good space now where I can start telling people you need to try to come into this game and start playing it? And we'll start with STL since he's down there.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's a little bit complicated on that answer, just because I don't have a lot of real life friends and connections that are, PC gamers. I've got a lot of friends that are gamers that are on console, and I think that's also part of what the limiting factor for this game is you've got slightly a slightly reduced window of your backer audience, right? Like you don't have the console release, you can't go cross-platform with where things are right now. You're not hitting the mobile suite of devices. It's not really the same. So, I think in my mind, I feel like the game is at a place where if I did have this group where I would be recommending this to, I would recommend it with caveats, or at least very good disclaimers. If you're comfortable sometimes finding your own way to make content in the verse, then it's a good time to get it. If you just want to sightsee and see some cool space, and you've been wanting to fly in space ever since you've been a kid, and this is a really good chance to get in and see something beautiful. The height maps changing, the LODs, everything like that. The game it is prettier than it's ever been. It's just a lot of fun. I go out mining, and a lot of times I don't even care what I come back with. Just I want to fly around, near the surface of planets. And if you're in the kind of two core gameplay loops, when we're really looking at either cargo or combat, and then I guess you can toss mining in there, I feel like they're fleshed out enough where you can have a good time in the verse right now. So I think it's really about understanding who you're talking to about that, what they want to accomplish while they're in the verse, and then you probably know whether you're going to keep recommending it to them right now or not.
Okay. Kelosal, the school teacher, you've got 25 kids in your class. You could tell them to start signing up now and get your referral. when are you going to start telling those kids to sign up? I mean, where do you need to see the game in order for you to really start, feeling encouraged to tell people, hey, this is a game you really need to jump into?
I mean, what do I have to lose? Hey, I have nothing to lose. I've been talking about this to my kids every year because my kids are stuck on Fortnite.
Okay,
that's the age group that I teach. So I do teach, and I teach 7th graders, and my 7th graders are all about Fortnite, asking me what season, blah blah blah, all this mess. So when we do get to that time of year where my kids deserve to rest, because kids they deserve to play, by the way, then we start streaming certain things or start watching certain things. And I'm gonna tell you now, I've shown them an STLYoungblood video. I mean, and by the way, I get to appreciate STL on that one because he's definitely educated me throughout the years. Definitely. And keep on pushing out those content, STL, because I'm telling you, you were one of the first ones that I've actually started paying attention to long time ago. And I was like, I already knew about Chris Roberts and knew about Wing Commander. But then when I started seeing you started pushing out these ships and things like that, I mean, boy, has that helped me out. And I want to thank you for that and keep on doing what you're doing because it's phenomenal. It really is. Anytime. And I show my kids these types of things. Like I said, I have nothing to lose. So I would tell anybody. It doesn't matter. I'll be like, oh, you need to, I'm an MMORPG guy. So there's, these are 3 types of games that I play now. And Star Citizen is like number 2 or 3. right? And I tell the people, just go ahead and play it. It's got a whole bunch of bugs, but at least it's there for you to play, blah, 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 blah. I will tell anybody and everybody I have nothing to lose. I'm not dishing out my Star Citizen code. I don't have any
Come on, man. You got to get that on the blackboard.
I know. But, you know, it's just the fact that, you know, I'm just busy. But when I am able to talk about gamers, which my kids do appreciate, guys, because you'd be surprised, mom and dads, y'all, that STL, you'd be surprised. No, you're not surprised. You see it. Your kids are probably big time gamers more than you. More than you.
Not yet, but probably on the horizon.
You know, so if I have a class of 25, at least 20 of them, including the ladies, including the girls, are playing the games. Okay. So like I said, I have nothing to lose. I tell anybody and everybody, and I will continue to tell anybody and everybody, because it's such a good game, and I think everybody deserves to know whether it's completed or not. If it's playable, play it and get to see for yourself.
Okay. STL, I know you put out a video, if I remember, a few months back, where you talked about your referrals. You were like, I'm at this certain point now, and I've done this or whatever. Do you mind sharing what it was? What you said you finally hit some landmark thing on referrals?
I'm assuming that was the video where I hit the review mark for the Javelin.
Yeah, that's what it was. So
there just really isn't anything beyond that. And when I looked at what would they potentially do? Because they always talk about, reworking the referral program or, whether they're going to add new perks. And a lot of times what they do, and I'm glad they're doing, is that they're adding more perks at the lower levels. Now, they've added a lot of those perks between 20 to 75, and that's still really out of the range for a lot of people. But, so for me, I got to a point to where I no longer was going to really see anything from my additional referral. So this is going to sound a little bit like I'm trying to pimp some stuff for myself here, and I'm really not. So what my decision ultimately was that I was going to kind of kick back the people that were supporting the channel on Patreon. So essentially, I've worked with Jay Grebnick, who worked on the subreddits, the Star Citizen subreddits code generator, and basically created my own patron sub generator. So the supporters for my channel are now receiving my referral rewards instead of myself, just using the same logic. So
which is very cool.
Yeah, which is still technically, I still see one trickle in every now and then. I don't know where people are getting the code at this point, but I think for the most part it's working.
But I thought it was very cool that you did that and turned that around to give it to community, which I thought was very awesome thing to do. You got fastcart?
And I just want to say thank you for that, because I got one referral out of that. So thank you very much.
Hopefully more. But enjoy
just the one, but I'm fine with it.
Yeah, enjoy your bulldog.
But it's quite a question about what would it take for me to tell my friend to get into Star Citizen. I do tell them about free flies and stuff like that. Try to whenever that come up. But for me, I'm surprised no one else said this. Maybe this is going to be Griffin's answer, but I say a finished game. I'm going to wait until it's finished, and then, when all the hype and everything is up and everything, go play Star Citizen. Go play Squadron 42. It's a great game. So, because before that, people were complaining about bugs and the lack of persistence. They don't want to play a game and have a chance of losing all their progress at different stages of patch release. Or maybe something that they want in the game is not in the game yet, like the economy.
Yeah.
POI.
I tell you what, though, you hit on something there that was important, Fastcart, and that's something that's kept me coming back. I think a lot has been that persistence actually is a real thing now. That's huge. I mean, we have this almost looming shadow that says we may lose all of our stuff at some point in the next, whenever, but we don't know when that is. So yeah, I agree. That's been big, and I think that's helped a lot of people come back, because everybody wants to have that ability to achieve and take that next step, and you can't really do that when you lose everything every 3 months.
Right, it's very true.
Can I say just give me warm fuzzies whenever STL agrees to something I say? It makes me feel so good. Thank you.
Well, for my last toss in on this, I would say I have those, and I'm sure you guys do too. I have those friends that are the geeks that I think that would be just totally down for a game like this. And what I have done is send them streams. I've sent them videos, and they think it's amazing. but I honestly have not given them that full invitation yet because I also know that they're looking to play a game more than test a game. So in some ways, I'm kind of priming them a little bit, and I'll say, hey, check out this stream, check out this, and they say, man, is this real? Is this that? And they're blown away by it. But I have not pushed them into it yet. And so I'm kind of looking forward to get just a little bit further. And you're right, STL, the fact that persistence is in, it's kind of been making me think about it a little bit more, that maybe this will be a good time for them if they understand what the process is. I think I've just been a little reluctant because that whole testing thing can still be kind of funky for some people.
Well, chances are you're going to tell them to come on in, and we're going to hit 4.0 finally, like a month later, and they're going to be like, I lost all my stuff.
Well, and believe me, I've actually thought about waiting till 4.0 comes out to see what that really is. But I am at that point where before I really have not been putting out those invites to people. And so for me, I think it's got to be a little bit more for me to start putting it out there for folks. So, okay, that's it. We're going to wrap it up for the night. Thank you guys for all the stuff. You guys gave us so much stuff in chat to talk about and so many great questions. I will not forget to acknowledge Juice. Thank you for the follow. Lord Dreen, I saw you come in. Thank you for coming tonight. And thank you for that subscription from Prime. And then, of course, Jedi Knight followed us with 4 minutes ago. Jedi Knight, I saw you pop in. We appreciate that.
Gotta change that name, Jedi.
Listen, don't listen to the Sith over there, all right? You just go ahead and wear that name well. Wear that name well, okay? Wear it is all you want to. Let's start off and say our goodbyes. STL, thank you again for coming. I know you had some stuff going on, but I thank you. You hit it right at 8 o'clock, too. You said 8 o'clock, and you walked in at 8 o'clock. So
boy, Griff, I was scrambling. I moved not long ago, and I was like, I sat down, and I was like, I'm going to be like 15 minutes earlier than I thought I was. And I looked at the top of my monitor, and I didn't have a webcam. I was like, oh,
it's always something like that. It's always something like that. Don't worry.
Tearing through drawers. I found my old one, which I'm assuming is why the green screen.
That's why it's all blown out.
The good one is.
That's all right. We can still see you. We appreciate you coming.
I visually look like a blown speaker.
It's okay. It's okay. Your voice is recognizable, even if the face isn't recognizable. Yeah. Everybody knows who you are. STL, let everybody know where you are, where they can find you.
Sure. First and foremost, YouTube. I'm STLYoungblood there. If you just search it there, you'll find it. Technically, it's youtube.com/c/STLYoungblood, or the links keep getting posted in. You can find them there. The Blood 60 Feet 6 Inches was my originating YouTube name long ago. Aside from that, Twitter, I'm on there every once in a while. I'm really bad about social media, so just to be completely fair with everybody, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. Mostly I'm there to pimp my own videos. But STLYoungblood there. And then you'll find me around in the verse. If you find me on a server and you want to talk to me, feel free to drop me a line or chat with me. I'm almost always interacting with people that are asking questions on in the game chat. So if you need me, you can generally find me there. But yeah, I'm around.
Awesome. Kelosal, where can people find you?
You'll find me here. I'm a busy man. So you'll find me here. Like I said, I always enjoy coming on and talking about Star Citizen. It's one of my favorite things to do. I also want to I always want to thank Griff for having me on. Fastcart, it's always a wonderful time with you. STL, I mean, one of my heroes and content. It's just a pleasure. I'm serious. It is a pleasure.
Yeah, really.
Seeing you is a pleasure. Hearing from you, and it's a pleasure learning from you. And I always look forward to your next content. Yeah. Good to see you.
Yeah, great chatting with you guys too. And I know Fast and Griff are going to wrap it up too. But anytime I can find time to come back in and have a chat. I always enjoy doing stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. No, we appreciate it. Yeah, Fastcart.
I just want to say thank you to STLYoungblood also for being on. And it's really weird because I'm used to watching them on YouTube, so I'm having to stop myself from clicking on his picture to not pause them so I can go get a sandwich or something like that. And also, when you talk about buying modules and stuff like that for ships and how much it costs and stuff like that, I had a great idea for a new Soul Citizen show. It'd be called Pimp My Ship. That'd be great for us.
Yeah, well, you know what? Somebody already beat us to that, believe it or not. I think Info Runners did something like that already, so they might have beat us to it. But yeah, maybe we have to think about doing something like that. Okay.
You can find me on twitter.com/fast_cart. Find me on here. Find me on Miss Hart Show on the Base Radio on Tuesday 8 p.m. That's taking a little bit hiatus. Find me on Shivers BTM Vampire the Masquerade stream on Wednesdays and Fridays or sometimes Saturdays. That's on Table of Horrors on Twitch.tv. And find me here.
Okay, cool.
Yep, that's everything.
Awesome. Let me say this too, just so you guys will know. STL had actually reached out to me months ago. He happened to see the show and actually basically said, I hope I don't embarrass you when I say this, but he said, anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know. And we really appreciated that. We're still young in the sense of this. We've been doing this for 6 months now. I think we started back in March, 6 or 7 months that we're doing this show. But then when you've got community and people in the community like STL, people like Paul Shelley, there's so many people who have supported us, Captain Richard, people who have just kind of plugged us and threw us out there, Uber Nerd. It's really cool to know that you're in a community where people don't necessarily have to say, here are the big guys, we'll support them and who the little guys are. Which is one of the reasons why when we raid, we often raid the little guys. We kind of try to throw some steam in their direction to help them out. So we just want you guys to know to carry that over. And STL, I do want to say from the community, don't underestimate your contributions. You don't know how much you have influenced folks in the sense of both, right purchases, things to reconsider in the midst of that fervor of burning your wallet. That whole title of "Should You Buy" is enough to make us stop and think just for a couple of minutes.
I know. I always need to remind people, though, I am not responsible for your purchases. So when your spouse comes at you hard, I'm not involved.
That's his disclaimer, guys. All right, but again, thank you for being here with us tonight. Kelosal, as always, thanks. Fastcart, as always, thanks. We are going to set up. Look at Nihilus, buy everything. That's the person who can, the one person who could afford to buy everything in this game.
Nihilus, you want to buy some stuff? Go ahead, feel free.
All right, we're going to set up a raid with Marcus the Way, guys. So when you get over to Marcus, say hi, hang out for a few minutes. If you like what he's doing, give him a follow and encourage him in Star Citizen. I think he's giving away. Yeah, he's giving away a Mercury Star Runner. So hey, maybe there's a good reason to hang out over there for that too. But anyway, you guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. And as always, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys later. Take care.
Hit my ship.